I learned this from Charles here, is that you need to be everywhere because people consume people consume content differently. So as long as the content is being created, and I'll drop a nugget on this one, if you're struggling to create content, get on a call. If you struggle with speaking, create a call that people can hop into. Took a picture of us while we're.
I was gonna say it looks dope on this, like, cause you can see the lights and all the setup. Man, I got the whole studio, new studio alert. We out here making sure all my stuff is going. I did this all myself, man. One of the things that would be smart, huh? That'd be smart.
I'm trying to help you.
Oh. So in the world of delegation and automation, a lot of people, they think that you got to delegate everything. I delegate a lot of stuff, but I'm not going to let these people take me down. I'm not going to let employees take me down. So I got to be the person who's in here grinding. Man, last night I was in the office and I was working on some stuff. And the project that I wanted to work on, I knocked it out. And I was like, you know what? I could probably do some more stuff right now. And so I dug in deep into my business, found even more value add stuff. And I was like, a lot of times employees, they don't dig down deep in your business.
There's no passion.
But the goal is to start coaching these people to go dig deep. So I got to coach people to excellence. They got to come in with an open mind, and they got to be willing to accept that if you want to be great, these are the things you got to approach. It's not just a paycheck. It's not just a job. If you're just here for a paycheck and a job, this might not be the place for you.
McDonald's is hiring.
My name is Charles Oglesby. This is the Millionaire Talk Show. We're here with a special guest, Daniel. What's your last name, Daniel?
Martinez.
Daniel Martinez. This guy has so much business knowledge. I don't even think he's 30 yet.
29.
Yeah, he's 29. And he started a software company that's blown up. It hasn't even been a year old yet. And so it's really cool to see what he's accomplished. But he has a bunch of other game from other past business endeavors. So I want to talk to you guys about what he's done that's worked, what he's done that maybe didn't work, that now helps him do what he is doing that is working, because I think that all those things work together. And he's just like super hard go-getter. We actually were supposed to do this a long time ago, and I flaked. And he was like, man, I'm trying to come there. I'm trying to do this. I was like, I flaked, but I don't think that it would have been as dope as it is now back then. But maybe we could have just done another one of these, but who knows? Nevertheless, welcome to the show, brother. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm happy to be here. It's always been a good experience to talk to people in person, just because the conversation happens versus being scripted. So
absolutely,
you're here live. If you're watching this later on, this is all real talk.
We all over the place, just like Hive Mind is all over the place. But let's start from the beginning. I forgot to ask Roy this question, but what was life like growing up for you, man?
It was, as far as like schooling, or
just like however you would answer that question. Like, what was life like? I know we talked and you went to like a private school and you went to a pretty good college and you had a pretty good life, man.
So,
in Chicago?
I grew up in the hood. So my parents sacrificed to put me in a private school. It was a lot smaller, so my graduating class was like 65 people. So nothing compared to what's out there, but my parents just sacrificed. My mom was a stay-at-home mom, and my dad worked on the roads for 30 years. So we used to live. So Chicago's so big. If anybody knows Chicago extends from Indiana to Wisconsin, because that's how big Chicago is. So we used to live in Indiana, and my dad would commute to work. So he worked all over Illinois and all the way up to Wisconsin. You name it, he worked all over the place. So it was knowing that there was a bigger purpose for me and understanding that. So they sacrificed growing up, and it was just crazy. We had like a 2-bedroom house. My parents actually live there right now still. They actually live back. 2-bedroom house, and those four boys, and it was an experience. And I'm the youngest of 4, so I used to get beat up on and punched in the arm. And for my 18th birthday, my brother tapped me out 18 times. So we used to wrestle. So it wasn't like birthday punches; it was tap outs. So learning how to adapt in the rough neighborhood. Bike stolen from backyards, bike stolen off my brother.
Yeah.
We were riding the bike.
Jeez.
Yeah. Shootings in the backyard.
Do your parents own that home?
They own it. They still own it.
What's the value on that compared to what it was back in the day?
Oh, I'm sure. I think they got it for like $15,000. It's probably worth maybe 120, 150 right now.
Jeez.
So, but it's ownership. I mean, we never left because we couldn't really go anywhere else, and they made a lot of sacrifices for us. I mean, we ate a lot of rice and beans and eggs and whatever we could to get by.
Yeah.
And I knew there was a sacrifice, and I knew I had a bigger purpose in life because a lot of people sacrificed around me.
Yeah. So after high school, where did you end up?
I went to a private college. That's where I met my wife, and it's kind of it was a church college. So I'm from the Christian faith previously. After I've learned a lot in business and life, I know a lot of it has its good and bad, and you have to take the good with the bad and understand what the real purpose is. And a lot of people, they feel like they need to go to church to be a better person, but even the Bible says there were two or more are gathered, so you really don't necessarily need that if it's not for you.
Yeah. You met your wife in college. Was it love at first sight?
No, it wasn't. I had to win her over because if you look at me back then, I was a kid. I was 19 at the time.
No beard.
So I wear a beard to age me because a lot of people underestimate me. So I think I want to show power and force, so that's why I wear the beard. But I was young, didn't know nothing, addicted to video games, had no goal and aspirations in life. But my wife saw something in me that I didn't even see in myself back then, so I got to give her some props.
When did you? So all right, you meet her in college, but you've been married as long as I've been married, 5 years and counting.
6.
6 years?
No, it was 5.5. 5.5.
Yeah, that's all. I know that much. I know that we're around this. So anyway, 5 years. You're 29. That means you've been married since you've been 24, approximately.
Yeah.
When did you guys get together?
I was 19.
Oh wow, yeah, we got married when we got together when we were 19. Also,
yeah.
Shout out to love, y'all.
Yeah.
What is the importance of marriage for you?
So people get distracted by a lot of things in business, and I think a lot of people don't like talking about it, but it's money, sex, and addiction. And it could be drugs or whatever it is. And finding the right person early, it keeps you guided and focused to do other things, because there's a lot of great men that succumb to one of those things, and they're not here today.
Yeah, man. That's important. And also fatherhood is something that I've seen that you're really big on. 3 kids, 2 girls, 1 boy. What's that like?
Man, I'll tell people all this time. A lot. I didn't know what my why was growing up, and I married my wife, and when I found out she was pregnant, I'm like, something has to change. I can't live my life day to day without a bigger purpose or a bigger goal in mind. So as soon as I found out my wife was pregnant, I was driving a truck at the time. I worked every possible day I could, overtime, extra hours. I made $100,000. It was like $97,000 that year. And then after that, as soon as my daughter was born, I took 2-week vacation, 3-month paternity leave, and I quit, and I haven't been back. My daughter turns 4 on Christmas, and that's what my purpose is. And the biggest reason why is because my dad worked so hard his whole life.
And you didn't see him.
And I didn't get to see him. So once I knew my wife was pregnant, I knew I had to make a difference and make a change to become a bigger person.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, what is it about children that pushes people to entrepreneurship? Because Anthony Hartzog, he just left his job yesterday, and they announced their baby like a week before that. And to listen to your story, it's similar. It's like, all right, you grind it really, really hard, but then once the child came, it's like you can't work a job.
Yeah, it forces you to be great. And a lot of people, it might be a wife or a spouse, and knowing that somebody's depending on you, it forces you to do bigger things and bigger aspirations. And I think marriage is a hack. I think fatherhood is a hack. And I think being patient with your people around you and your spouse and your kids.
Yeah.
Patience is so powerful.
Yeah.
Employees too.
So you hinted at trucking, but you hinted at trucking from the employee side, but I know you have some experience trucking as a business owner. When did you get the itch or the bug to start your own trucking company?
So it was out of, I think Roy said it too a second ago. He just spoke, was that he learned how to do CPR. So that's the business he started. So for me, I was in trucking. I had my CDL, so I'm like, I might as well do something I understand and know, and I just have to learn the business side of it, and I could take it to the next level. So I kind of stepped into what I already knew based off of my previous experience.
Yeah. What was that first truck? Like owner operator, you went down there. Tell us the story, man. How did you start a trucking business?
You gather the information. You gather the information you need to move to the next step. I think that's what entrepreneurship is. Mm-hmm. Is there's always obstacles, and you have to overcome those obstacles. So some people, they have the fear of like, oh, what's the next step? Like the next step is just figuring it out. That's the next step. You can't 100%. Really tell anybody. Like there might be a roadmap out there, but sometimes you have to figure it out.
Yeah, absolutely.
So first truck. I mean, business is hard. Don't let anybody tell you different. This isn't. You might see all the money and galore, but there's blood, sweat, and tears behind that. Yeah. And if you're not ready for that, find somebody that you can align with as far as their goals. That way, you can make the money you need to. Because business is hard. You have to make a lot of hard decisions. You have to face a lot of facts. You have to lose money. I tell those people all the time is that everybody owes a boss money. If you're a boss, somebody owes you money. Mm-hmm. It's just the nature of the beast.
Yeah. All right. So that's interesting. You didn't take a course, nothing like that. You just hopped out there.
No. I found the information to get me, get my authority, waited the 30 days. I already had lined up a truck. I took money out of my 401k to start the business. I had all the money saved up that I was to launch the business, just bootstrapped it. And then this is crazy. So day one, I get in the truck. I'm in the truck ready for a load, and no one wants to give me a load because you have to have 30 days. You have to have authority for 30 days before they even give you a load. Right. But no one tells you that.
Yeah.
So I remember sitting in the truck. I'm like, I have a kid at home. What am I doing? I just bought this truck. I have authority. I have insurance. I just dropped $20,000 to start this, and I can't even work.
So what'd you do for those 30 days?
I don't even. I like the experience of trucking, but it all went so fast. It all went so fast. I remember the beginning, starting out was so hard. Just getting everything lined up.
Yeah.
And I think we mentioned this too, that when you start building a business, when you have the money to do it, you know it's always there. But when it's your last dollar, you sacrifice a lot to get there.
Yeah.
And it really hurts sometimes.
One thing I would say is that no matter what business you start, and give it some time. A lot of people, they think that because the business made money that they made money. No. Especially if you're in year 0, year 1, year 2. Like, no, like you literally have to act as if that's the business's money. It needs to be reinvested back into the business and used to grow the business. So it's very difficult to hop right out the frying pan into entrepreneurship. I just saw that Kezia had a job. I didn't know Kezia had a 9 to 5. Kezia, the queen of entrepreneurship and not working these jobs, had a job. And she didn't quit her job until like this week. But I think that what her story tells us is if you are coming from nothing as an entrepreneur, meaning like your parents didn't give you $1 million loan, the job is that for you. So your responsibility is to work the job and work your business at the same time. It's not comfortable. It's not fun. It's not sexy. And people probably disagree with me, but that's what I did. And I worked the job until I was financially able to leave the job and still like not struggle, if that makes sense. So I retired from the job and then went into entrepreneurship. And then that allowed me to have the $1 million loan from my dad. I was just my dad. I became Donald Trump's dad. So, man. All right. So you have your truck. You ran the trucking business. It didn't work out. What did you learn from that experience?
I learned that when you're bootstrapping a business, you have to be everything. You have to be the accountant. You have to be the boss. You have to be the friend to your employees in some cases. You have to be the counselor. I remember counseling drivers on their marriage. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. I shouldn't have to do this. But as a boss, you have to take on responsibilities that you don't think you have to do. But when it comes down to it, you have to keep your people motivated to make sure they take care of their family, which in turn takes care of yours. Yeah. So the one thing bad thing about being a boss is who gets paid last? We do.
Right.
We do. We'll pay everybody. We'll pay everybody else first. We'll make sure there's marketing money. We'll make sure there's fuel in the truck. We'll make sure there's insurance to even drive the truck. But who gets paid last? The boss always does. So it's now you have to put other people in front of your ambitions and your goals just because now you have a responsibility of other people's families.
Yeah.
But no one talks about that.
And they don't talk about that. They just show you that trucking is lit and you make a bunch of money, but you hate trucking now.
I hate trucking. Well, I learned a lot from you. So everybody, and I learned this in business, is that not all business is good business.
What does that mean?
It means that not every business should be there and it shouldn't be run by you. Because sometimes it takes a lot more work and time than you are required or you have time for. So not all business is good business. I see trucking as, yes, it makes lots of dollars. People go like, oh, I make $5,000 a week. Well, they don't tell you they spent $1,500 on the insurance. They don't tell you they spent $1,500 on the fuel. They don't tell you they spent $200 on tolls. They don't tell you that they still have to pay the dispatcher. Mm-hmm. People don't tell you you have to pay the mechanic to fix any problems, change the oil, change the brakes. There's a lot of other underlying expenses that, yeah, they have a check. Even in real estate, people are like, I got a $10,000 check. Well, how much marketing did you spend to get that check? Yeah. And that's when you, on your other side of it, you have to understand that there's underlying expenses.
So what you're saying is like there's a business that makes money but doesn't really generate a profit.
And this is the crazy part about this is that it depends on the type of business. Uber ran their business for, I think, 5-6 years and didn't make $1, mm-hmm. but they're worth billions. Mm-hmm. So it depends at what scale do you take it that it's worth actually money.
Yeah.
It depends on the right people.
It's kind of interesting, though, because I think those valuations are based on ultimate profitability.
Yeah, they forecast it.
Right. So they're not making money now, but they're going to make money.
So this is the big thing. What Uber did is they came in, took the market by being affordable, which is what Charles.
That's exactly what they did.
They came in, became affordable, took over the market where now people are using it every day mm-hmm. with multitudes of people, and then they raised their prices.
You know who also did that? Amazon.com.
Amazon.com.
And the Chinese do that a lot too. There's different ways to do it, but I think ideally you have to have an affordable piece in your business.
Always.
Tesla, they started high end, but they didn't see the stock growth that they see now until they became affordable. Apple, when they had the Apple phone and it was like $1,000 phone, like a legit $1,000 phone, not like it's $1,000, we're going to discount it and do all these different things and put on payment plan. Like they had a lot of following, but when they made it affordable, now everybody got an iPhone.
So here's the other thing is multiple products as well. You need to create multiple products in your business. Most people don't understand that AirPods make as much money as most corporations out here.
Right.
Just the AirPods in the Apple business make more money than a lot of corporations.
You need multiple products.
Multiple products.
What products do you have that are multiple products?
Yeah, multiple products and being affordable.
Yeah.
That's how you take your place in the market and corner it as far as take your little portion. You don't need 100% of it. Yeah. I think trucking in most industries are like $1 billion industry. You only need a slice, little tiny slice. Yeah. And you're straight.
I think we as a people need to start thinking about money as products anyway. That's not dead. It just does that. I got to change the settings. Give me 1 second though. It just does that. So what I was going to say is that we have to start thinking in terms of products. And I'll tell you why. Because like you said, you have to have multiple products. I made $100,000 with the vending machine course. I didn't even know that. I looked, I was like, damn, I made $100,000? I was like, that's kind of dope. And that's not even the bulk of like everything that I have. Like, of course, the options course is bestseller. And then the Freedom Pack is that number's just climbing. Multiple 6-figure course. I'm going to make the Freedom Pack $1 million course. That's coming soon. And we'll make our money through products, because if you were to ask your job for a bonus, they might give you 500. It's this Christmas time, man. They're giving Christmas. What's the biggest Christmas bonus that you ever got?
I didn't even get one. They would give a 3% bonus, and I thought that was really good. So I realized until I learned about inflation. I'm like, man, these guys are bastards.
So they give you 3% bonus, and that's really just like, hey, we don't want you to. It's like they call it like a cost of living increase.
Yeah.
Like, since we know statistically through the data that inflation is going to happen, we have to do this for you. We don't just love you. We have to do it for you. Otherwise, you're going to your lifestyle is going to erode away. You can't afford to live anymore.
Yeah. But the funny thing is they don't tell employees that.
That's because employees are idiots. They don't want them to know, man.
Yeah. The power of information.
So, I'm going to end this segment, and we're going to talk about some real estate, because we'd already hammered the trucking chronicles to death. He don't like talking about trucking.
No, for anybody listening, I did get up to 5 trucks. I generated over $500,000 in trucking. So I do know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do know what I'm talking about. I operated it for 2 years. I had multiple I never hit 6-figure months, but I hit like 50,000.
Then why'd you end it all, man? Oh, you had to end it all.
It was you spin your wheels, and so much money was going through that you never actually catch anything.
Which makes it a bad business.
You
generate $500,000 and you don't net.
I lost money.
Isn't that crazy?
I generated $500,000 in 2 years and I lost money.
One of the things I don't like about trucking is it reminds me of flipping real estate, where people know the guy at the top is making money.
Yep.
So they want to get some of your money.
Yep. Everybody's in your pocket.
So, for example, with flipping homes, contractors, they know how much it's going to be worth after you sell it. They know how much you paid for it, and so they fill in the gap with some bullshit. That's what it is. It's just all nonsense.
It's the contractor bonus.
And the wholesalers do the same thing. Wholesalers, they know how much you're going to make. They know how much the rehab is going to cost. They know all that stuff. And so now their spreads aren't even 5% or not even $5,000 or $10,000. Their spread is whatever the hell they want to make it. They're out here getting 30, 40 grand on a wholesale deal now. You know what? When they get that 30, 40 grand, all that is your money. These people are taking your money. That's what they did in trucking.
Regulation, fuel, everybody, the broker knows they barely give you enough that way you can sustain yourself, and they pack up the rest.
Yeah. It's a cold world out here. That's why you got to be innovative, and that's why we're in the digital space, which we're going to ultimately talk about. All right, so one of the cool things about Daniel and Hive Mind in general is that he's actually a real estate person. So I don't know if you're doing this while you were doing trucking or if you did it after trucking, but you're big into real estate, but not just any kind of real estate, land. And he's a huge proponent on not this flippy flop stuff, just all land, everything. So we're going to talk about some land. So when did you get into real estate?
I got into real estate because I was spinning my wheels, and this is a beautiful part of business, is that once you realize it's not working, you pivot.
Yeah. You were spinning your wheels in trucking.
Spinning my wheels in trucking. Wasn't making any money, so I knew I had to make a change. And that's the beautiful thing about it, is a beautiful part about business is that you can pivot, and you just got to realize you got to learn the information. Yeah. So I pivoted. I started acquiring information. I actually did buy a course for real estate, and that's what I got my preliminary education. So I'm big on courses.
What was the course on?
Wholesale.
Okay, real estate wholesaling.
Real estate wholesaling.
Did you do any wholesale deals?
Yes. Yeah, I did. I actually my first property I flipped was land. That's why me and my partner, we resonated together, because we actually took the same course and we're both into land at the same time. So that's how we kind of resonated, and then we ended up starting Hive Mind after that.
How do you flip land?
So what let me ask you this. What is the value? What is the foreseen value? What tells you the value of a property, of a house?
Of a house?
Yeah.
What tells you the value of the house?
Yes.
I don't know. The comps?
Rentability, Airbnb revenue, the neighbor's house. That's what tells you the value of a property, of a house. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. The reason why we like land is because it has no foreseen value. People know it's valuable, but it has no value. Banks don't lend on it because it has no unforeseen value. You can't rent it. You can't put it on Airbnb. It doesn't cash flow. It doesn't produce anything. It just burns a hole in your pocket, just like most businesses. So what happens is that it doesn't create anything. It's just there. So if people own 100 acres, they have to pay $10,000 to $15,000 a year to keep it.
Right.
That becomes a burden.
Because property taxes, maintenance.
Property taxes, maintenance. People might dump on your property.
You got to secure your land.
I just talked to a homeowner, not homeowner. He owns 20 acres in Atlanta. He's like, somebody came in and dumped all over my property, a vacant lot. So that's
now you got to clean it up. Now you're responsible for it.
Now you're responsible for it. So now it's costing you headache, time, and money. So what happens is that most people that buy land, they buy cash. And when they buy cash, they're buying at a huge discount. Most people, they'll buy a $100,000 house on wholesale. You need to get that under contract for $30,000, $40,000, account for 15, 20 repairs, and you can sell it for 60, right? When it comes to land, we're trying to get that 20 to 30 cents. It depends on the size of the property and what the actual price is, but we're trying to get it 10 to 40 cents in the dollar.
Jeez. And so this is a situation where you're looking for distressed land.
Not even distressed.
Really?
Any land. Any
Or
land.
I would say not distressed land, but
Vacant.
maybe a distressed seller or a motivated seller.
No.
What?
We work with everybody. So
I always see land for sale and it says like available. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to call that person. So if I see land and it says available, has a sign on there, how do I approach that? Do I just contact them and say, hey, I want to, like, how do you determine the value? And then how do you determine what you're going to offer?
good question. So we generally don't like working with brokers on the front end just because they can stink up a transaction.
Absolutely.
So we're generally looking for sale by owners. We're looking for just land you pass up on the side of the street.
Right.
That's all we're looking for.
And then you find the owner through Landglide.
Find the owner through Landglide or Deal Machine or anything like that. And it's just talking to the owner. How much do you want for it? Most of the time, they don't even know. They'll just spit out a number. And we're like, okay. Whatever their number is, that's what we contract it is. And the reason why is because we can create value on the back end. So what we talked about earlier is a house, and what determines the value of a house is the neighbor,
right?
The neighbor's house, the neighborhood it's in. It's the comps. In land, there's no verifiable comps. You can buy a piece of land for $20,000, and a piece of land a block away will sell it for $100. Mm-hmm. You're like, where's the value?
That's the thing. That's why
you create it. So we like land because we can create our own values for it. So we're actually creating our own comps because we just make up a number.
How do you create value in land?
So check this out. So let's say we have hypothetically have a $50,000 worth of land. We're generally going to try and contract it for $5,000 to $25,000. Remember, most people that buy it need cash. So when you get it for so cheap, let's say we got a $50,000 piece of land for $5,000. Well, if we only got it for $5,000, do we buy that, or where do we sell it at? Well, it depends if we're wholesaling or buying it and flipping it. So let's say we're wholesaling it, right? $5,000 piece of land, or $50,000. It's worth $50,000. We're getting under for $5,000. We can take our own money, buy it, and sell it for whatever we want, right? But the beauty in land is you can create opportunity. So what you do is, hey, I have this property under contract for $5,000. Hey, let me see if I can find somebody that has $10,000, and then I owner finance it. So you create a note out of nothing. You literally print money. So what happens is I got a piece of contract worth $50,000, got under contract for $5,000. I then go to Charles. Hey, Charles, do you want to buy this $50,000 property? Actually, they don't even know what it's worth. Do you want to buy this piece of property for $60,000? You know what? All you need is $10,000 down. Oh yeah, $10,000 down. Boom, I got $10,000. So now he gives me $10,000. I give $5,000 to the original seller. I pop $5,000 in my pocket, and then I charge him $300 a month for 5 years.
So essentially, you find an opportunity. You flip that opportunity for cash, which then allows you to even purchase the original opportunity, and then you also create some cash flow on the back end. You
create cash flow. So what happens is on the back end you can sell the note. You can sell the note for cash, so that you can turn that payments into cash because people out there buying notes all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can just keep the cash flow. If the person ever defaults, you can resell it again, and it might be worth $60,000. And you just sell it again on terms, $10,000 down, and do it all over and over again. So the more property you have, The more property you can acquire at a discount, you can sell and become the bank. And that's where we create opportunity, because most people don't have enough funds to buy the property. So you become the bank in the transaction and collect the cash.
So let's say I want to be a developer.
Yep.
And I want to buy this land. Same process?
It depends.
There's a lot of different ways to do it, huh?
Yeah, there's so many different ways to do it. So imagine if you're a developer and I came and like, hey, I'll sell you this lot, and I know you're a developer. Remember, I'm counting your pockets. Hey, I'll sell it to you for $100,000 down.
Right.
I'll sell it to you for $100,000 with $10,000 down, and whenever you do what you do, you can pay me out.
So the conversation is different if they know what your intentions are.
Yeah.
So if they know, okay, this is right next to a shopping center and other homes, whoever buys this is going to ultimately turn it into a Starbucks or a Planet Fitness or something.
They just may hold on to it because as time progresses, neighborhoods are being built, jobs are being built in the area. Now the property of value has risen. Right. And it may just be a hold thing. You just hold on to that property till the values increase, which is what most people are doing, that hold the property. They're waiting for their number, but the problem is they don't actually know what that number is in the area. So if they want their number, like, hey, we'll give you your number, because it might be 2-3x that.
So for me, if I'm in an area where there's development going on, I'm probably not going to get a deal.
No, I mean, we go direct to seller, so you can talk to anybody that owns property.
Yeah.
Because opportunity can be made. If it's not now, they're going to sell in the future. So it's just building that follow-up system to make sure whenever they do want to sell, you're that person they call.
But sometimes when they do have those, like because I'm thinking about like in Wildemar.
Yeah.
Or even in Rancho, down the street. I'm looking at an available sign right now, but like in Rancho, like there's areas, if you go drive up and down 4th Street, where they're building a Stater Brothers, there might be another piece of another parcel across the street. And so let's say, for example, I'm like, hey, I want to buy this land, but they want $2 million for the property. Then what? It's not an easy $5,000, $10,000 deal.
I'm glad you asked me that. So you create the value. So I literally talked to a guy yesterday. He owns grocery stores. He doesn't operate them. He owns the dirt they're on. You know how much his check is monthly?
$1 million.
No. $50,000. $50,000 a month.
Just for the land.
He doesn't own or operate the land. He owns the dirt it sits on.
Yeah.
He collects $50,000 a month.
So that becomes an arbitrage as well. So it doesn't matter how, it might actually be better that it's more expensive land, because then you know that there's demand there. So if I'm buying $2 million land and now they turn it into Topgolf, or now they turn it into whatever, then the arbitrage becomes, I need to find the end user. I need to find whoever this person is that's going to pay me for this location.
And it's not even pay you. It's just the reason why. Man, we're going down a rabbit hole. I don't know if you want to go down this far.
Let's do it.
Okay. So the reason why the grocery store doesn't want to own the land is because the land's actually worth $10 million. Okay. So if they were to put up $10 million just to sit on the land, they couldn't build more locations because they're working off a location model. So what happens is they do a triple net lease for the land and they pay the $50,000 a month. That way they can have multiple locations. Versus having the money just sit inside that land.
That makes a lot of sense.
So think of this building. We're in an office building right now. Somebody owns this building, but somebody might own the dirt under the building too. That might be two different people.
That's big wealth talk. When I used to work in the family office, this is what we did. We literally, and it would blow my mind. We would own the land, and then people would have a land lease. And I guarantee you, there's not a lot of people who ever even heard of a land lease. They're like, why would I want to pay money to own some land? Well, he just told you why. Because as a strategy for business, it doesn't make sense to buy the land. It makes sense to lease it and then build on top on like a 99-year ground lease. We would do like very, very long-term ground leases. Yep. And then in 99 years, that building's probably useless. Or maybe they can buy it if there's a term in the contract that allows them to then acquire it or whatever. Whatever that looks like, I don't know.
They own the land, so once the lease is up, that they can do whatever they want for the building.
Right. Exactly. So that's another thing. So once the lease is, and this is why we would do it, because we would lease the land, you'd build a building, and then afterwards the building goes to the landowner. So what's interesting is the $2 million property, we're not looking at, if it's $2 million and that's all it's worth, it's not a deal. It has to be worth more than the $2 million for me to offer you $2 million.
And that's why we like land, because it has no unforeseen value. It only has value to the end person you sell it to.
It's all creativity at that point.
It's all creativity.
So it's like a $2 million parcel. If it's just going to sit there vacant as nothing, or if it's going to go to, I don't know, a Chuck E. Cheese or maybe like some non so good business, it means nothing. But if this is a prime opportunity to put like a shopping center or to put like a very high demand business because of all the things that are there, and that business can make money, now that land is more valuable.
So anybody watching this later, go to loopnet.com, look up restaurants or office buildings, and you'll see, and if you're in California, you'll see 3-4 caps selling for $6 million, and it might be a Starbucks. It might be a Chick-fil-A. It might be something. They're not actually selling the Chick-fil-A business. They're selling the land lease locked in a long-term contract for 15 to 20 years, which creates cash flow. They usually write in inflationary writing. That way it increases over time. And now they just keep it. So a lot of firms, there's a lot
it's like
of...
a bond, effectively.
Yeah, there's a lot of real estate firms out there that, let's go back to the $2 million. Let's say the purchase price was $2 million. You might be able to create a note that's worth 10. A Walgreens sells for a 3 cap. It might be worth $10 to $15 million. So now you have $2 million debt, but you have a $15 million property or lease agreement. So you can make multiple $1 million on one deal.
I was following you, and then I stopped following you. We have to listen to that again.
Okay, hold on. I'll show you. Anybody wants to learn about this, look up 10BII calculators. They're called 10B2 calculators. So you can create their calculators to use to find out the value of notes. Whether
Like
it's
future value calculator.
Car mortgage, loan mortgage.
It's like called a financial calculator.
Financial calculator. There you go. So it's a 10BII calculator. So let's say you get the property under contract for $2 million. You don't have to bring $2 million to the table. You wholesale it to an end buyer. So let's say, hey, the corner on 4th Street, they want $2 million. Okay, let me lock it under contract. What you do is then you contact Walgreens Acquisitions. Hey, do you want to put a lease on this property? Yeah, sounds great. They'll do a little analysis on the property, make sure it's this. They'll tell you the terms of what they need done on the property. You might need grading. It might need utilities to a certain part of the property. Once you do whatever they agree to, then they'll sign your contract. Hey, we're doing a 20-year lease on that property, and then you might be able to close before, or you might need to bring up the money, do the whatever you need to do, utilities, clearing out the property, and then they'll come in, bring a construction group, actually build the unit, and then now you have a lease agreement that's worth $10 to $15 million, and you only got under contract for $2 million.
Makes sense.
So you create opportunity.
Makes sense, because the lease agreement is based on the revenue. The revenue is based, and then the value of that revenue is based on the cap rate. So if you're generating $50,000 a month and you can cap it out at 3 to 5%, that determines what it's worth now.
Yeah,
you reverse into it, just like a multifamily.
You reverse into it. So what it does is the retail place, they'll actually give you how much cash flow they're giving you, and based off of other sold land leases in the area, you can figure out your cap rate. So once you know the cap rate, the terms of the agreement, and the cash flow, you can tell what the value is.
Wow. Bars. So you guys have a course, how to make 6 figures on a land deal. How do you make 6 figures on a land deal?
You find a property like that and give it to us.
Give it to who?
Me. Hive Mind.
So I go out there, I make a bunch of phone calls, send out a bunch of letters. People call me and they say, hey, how much you want to pay for it? And they give me the number, and I say, great. Because one thing you said is that whatever number they tell you, that's the number you take.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't negotiate with people. We give them whatever number they want.
That's so crazy.
It is crazy. But we depending on the value, so let's say the value is overpriced. Well, then we go back, hey, it's not going to move at your price. You retrade at that point. But if you can create some other value point and sell it to somebody else, you can give them whatever amount of money they want.
So it doesn't matter how much you're paying. It matters what you can create.
What you can create out of the back end.
That's smart. And so you guys have done deals where you've taken land and then chopped it up into parcels, sold off those parcels for large money. Let's talk about that deal.
So we're actually still working it. So it's one, we purchased 107 acres in San Antonio, Texas, back in, I want to say September. It was like late August, early September. right around there. We purchased 100 acres. It was actually found by one of our users who found my partner on YouTube. She called. He took her driving for dollars like a few times, and then and this is all in the course. We cover all this in the course. But we told her what to look for. She found an owner. She started calling. I was like, hey, Anthony, Daniel, I have this lead that I think is a good deal. So we ended up helping her contract it, did the negotiations. We closed on it in September. We purchased it. And then we ended up subdividing it into 11 lots. And then all those should be closing sometime in January. And we're looking to make like $600,000 on it. And we're paying our original person $100,000 for finding that deal.
When you got that under contract, you just took the number?
Yeah.
And then you're like, all right, now the work begins.
So we use creative strategies. So how they told us they wanted $1 million for that. Okay, we'll give you $1 million. We don't have $1 million. We operate our business like we're broke. So we asked them for owner financing. Hey, if you want $1 million, you got to give me something. You got to give me time to create this opportunity. And they get their $1 million.
I like it. And that's what I was going to ask you. How do you put it under contract? And how long do you put it under contract?
For as long as you can. So most houses, you try and lock up a contract for 30 days. And if you do it over 30 days, you're really messing with people because they might be moving. And I'll tell this to everybody, if you're a wholesaler locking up houses for over 30 days, you need to make sure your numbers are right because you're not doing good business. So with land, they've owned it for years. We can lock it up for 90 days. We try and lock up for 90 days minimum. And we'll usually try and get it for 6 months to a year.
I like it.
Up to 6 months to a year. And we'll lock it up. And that really, what it does is as the longer you lock it up, the more the area increases and it's actually worth more.
Yeah.
So depending on the size of the lot, you might want to lock up for 2.5 years, a year and a half, a year, 12 months, 6 months, just because by the end of the term, it might be worth more a lot of money because the Amazon warehouse might pop up.
That's interesting because I know back in the day in the family office, we would have like options on a contract on a property.
Yep.
Like entering into an agreement that's saying, I'll buy this property for this price within this range of time.
Yep.
And so you would wonder, like, why would you do that? And why would you spend money for it? Well, because it could appreciate in value and it can go up in value over time.
Yep.
And then now you have an asset. And so that contract alone is an asset.
Yeah. I mean, that's what makes wholesaling legal, and we're not acting as a broker because now we have equity because we have a contract at a certain price.
Is wholesaling legal, though?
It depends on who you talk to. And it depends on the state, too. But wholesaling isn't going away because there's always going to be people that need to sell at a discounted price based on their situation.
That's true.
So whether they make it illegal or not, all you have to do is get your license or have somebody on your team that's licensed, and you're good to go.
I just never liked wholesaling just because I couldn't wrap my mind around telling somebody that I'm going to buy a property and I'm not going to buy the property. It didn't make any sense to me, but apparently it works. But honestly, I feel like
it's positioning.
The way you do it, you don't even have to tell them that you're going to buy the property. You're telling them that like we're going to create something because you said something about we have to have some time in order to make something out of this.
Yeah, we create opportunity. And this is where we have conversations with our sellers like, hey, if other buyers in the area, we always blame the invisible third person. Charles buys his property at $50,000. He's a freaking he's a total businessman. I wouldn't do that for you though. I can do 65. But Charles is the bad guy, the invisible person.
So it's like I would pay you more, but I can't pay you more because this dude out there is not going to pay more.
Exactly. So you blame the invisible person next door. That's your competition, even though there's no competition. But you blame them, and they're the real issue. Interesting.
That is interesting. Did you learn all these in the course you took, or you learned this through practice?
No, I learned all of this from experiencing it through Anthony, because Anthony learned a lot from his mentors, and I learned through my experiences too. And that's the power of business and experiences, is that, and even real estate in general, because most real estate transactions aren't the same. You're going to go through, if you're doing what we do, we're solving different problems. I've evicted a tenant out of not even my property just to help the seller out. Like, who does that? Crazy people. I've trashed out a property that I had under contract. Crazy people. Like we do a lot of things because we see the bigger benefit on the back end. So you have to do things that make you uncomfortable. You have to do things. I've broken into houses before. Just don't tell the police.
Yeah, we got that on the camera, bro.
Yeah. I've broken into houses with permission of the sellers because they didn't even have the key. Like, go ahead, break in. I'm like, okay. So I'm here breaking into a house. Like, you do stuff like that.
I think what's interesting is you learn that all by experience, but the bar that I heard right there is that we do things because we know the benefit on the back end is that much greater.
Yep.
And so people will see people doing things that they might deem beneath them.
Yep.
And they'll say, well, I would never do that. Well, you're actually missing out on the huge benefit on the back end because you're not willing to do this ugly, non-glamorous stuff that's going to set you up for success. And when you do that, you're actually kind of just choosing to fail. And it's kind of cool when you talk to people who are successful and it's like, I do the same thing. I do a lot of unglamorous, unsexy stuff because I know the benefit on the back end is going to pay for it all. That's a gem right there. So the reason why we have this brother here today is to talk about Hive Mind software. But I kind of wanted to qualify who he was in this whole conversation before we just jump right to the software. So let's get into it. What is Hive Mind and what does it do?
So I'm gonna answer that in a second. I think I'm really excited about this one. So I'm about to hit $1 million in revenue generated this month.
Wow,
so
that's crazy. This dude's rich, man.
No. By no means.
This is dope.
I'm rich up here. My pocket's just.
It's okay to be rich on this. This is a Millionaire talk show. It's okay to be rich here. We're not going to rich shame you. We're not going to wealth shame you. We just made that term up.
So Hive Mind is a automation platform to automate and accelerate people's businesses. So we launched in February, and it's niched down into real estate, but we help all types of businesses from podcasters, YouTubers to CPAs, attorneys, you name it. If Charles says if you ain't got a CRM, you ain't gonna have a business.
It's facts.
It's a facts. So no matter if you're in e-commerce, you need to work your clients. You need to work the email list. You need to do something else. If you're selling coaching, you need to find potential prospects and put them through your funnel and work that lead. So Hive Mind is just your all-in-one marketing system to do all that. So it has unlimited users, websites, texting, email, RVMs, unlimited websites, unlimited users. Most platforms out there, they milk you for the users. Like, oh, once you get a bigger business, we're going to take more out of your pocket. Yeah, we're not like that.
So when did you get involved? And when did you guys get the idea to create this company?
It was out of necessity. I needed a CRM, and what was out there was crap. It was out of necessity. So,
right.
We're in the pain of we're doing real estate. I was helping my partner Anthony do real estate, and it was just like, man, there's really not good things out here that make it easy and simplistic. So we came across an opportunity to start our own software company, and then we just went hard into it. And man, operating a software company is crazy.
Yeah. One of the things that I think that your company has going for you is you guys provide so much value for the price. And that's what allows you to grow and scale because it's a no-brainer. Why wouldn't I give these people this money? Why do you guys make it and keep it affordable at a good price when you provide so much value and people are making so much money with it?
So we have a bigger mission. Somebody asked me this the other day. And we have a bigger mission in mind. The bigger mission is that we want to help minorities own property. So you have to make it affordable. We have to help people through all stages of their business get to that point to own property. Just to put in perspective, one of our users has made, I'm guesstimating, over $250,000 this year using our software.
Wow.
Just using our software. He's a young black man out of Florida, 25 years old, made six figures, over $250,000 in real estate using our software. So for me is that I didn't know what my business why was, because I feel like a lot of people, you don't do this for fun. Like nobody does this for fun. And my business why is like my personal business why is I want to see more people make six-figure months. Six-figure months. Like, we're not talking about 6 figures in a year, 6 figures. Like, I want you to have a 6-figure month, because once you have a 6-figure month once, you know you can attain $1 million a year.
Mm-hmm. It's just facts.
So we're trying to create millionaires. We're trying to create ownership. We're trying to inundate a lot of people to learn and educate themselves based off of everything, just to better their lives. Because a lot of people are misinformed and not educated because of the misinformation and other distractions going around out there.
Yeah. One thing that I like about your business is there's community there, which is really cool to see. I went to the conference, and you would think that you guys just been hanging out for years, man. Like, you would think that that was what was there. How are you guys able to create that kind of an environment for your users?
It comes down to giving yourself freely. So literally, the person that asked me this the other day, I have a screenshot. They asked me, like, how many calls a week do you do? I'm like, 4 calls a week right now. I'm pretty much on every call, and sometimes our users run it, but we provide enough information and resources that way. If you have a question that you are stuck in, you can ask it on a live call with people that are experienced, that want to do that are already doing what you're doing, and they have the knowledge and ability to answer it right then and there.
It seems like you've kind of created like a mastermind effect as well. So where you and Anthony met each other were through a mastermind. Yep. And in that mastermind, I'm sure there was a Facebook group, there's calls. And so you guys took that and applied it to the business you created together.
We learned everything that we applied from other people. We learned a lot from him. We've learned a lot from other people in business. One of our users has been in real estate 30 years. He's been in real estate longer than I've been alive. And that's the power of building your network in a setting, because now you can leverage that information. So we call it the Hive Mind, because every time somebody new comes in, we've gotten smarter.
That's a bar.
Every time somebody new comes in, we've gotten smarter.
Yeah.
Because they have information that I need to learn.
That's so true.
So what we do is we invite it willingly. Like, hey, what's your information? What information can you participate in this? What knowledge can you provide to other people? Because every time they participate and provide information, now we get infinitely smarter. The biggest corporations out there have board members and board meetings. Like, that's our board meeting. Like, hey, teach us something. What can you teach us? And that's where we're constantly getting better as a group. And as me as a leader, I have to get better too, because now I'm kind of, we call ourselves the janitor of the business, because we're not necessarily the head of it. The head of it is the people. You can't point a finger at the Hive Mind. There's everybody that's inundated with it. So we have a podcast, the Hive with Us podcast. 30% of my interviews are with our clients, because they have information that you can get from them. You can go to the Hive with Us podcast, listen to an episode. You can DM them, and they will answer your questions. Not me, not Charles, not anybody else. You can message these people. They're real people doing real business every day, and you can message them. Yeah.
That's one of the dope parts about building a community is you're kind of just like the head, or not, I wouldn't even call it the head. You're just like the glue. You're the glue that brings all these people together. But like, the value is still in the people. It's interesting because as I was writing my notes and about to lead into my next question, I was like, it looks so much better to have a notepad and a pen as opposed to if I was just on my phone. Because if I was on my phone, I'd be like, what's this N-word doing? Or if I was on like my laptop or something, like, why is he typing during the interview? Little things, y'all. Little things that you learn as you go. So now I'm probably going to be yellow padding it up all the time. So anyway, one of the things that I think that is powerful about Daniel and his brand and what he's built, $1 million company, is he does stuff. He does everything, everywhere. Can you talk to us about the value that you've been receiving by just doing things and being on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, everywhere? Why is that important, and how have you seen success that way?
I learned this from Charles here, is that you need to be everywhere because people consume content differently. So as long as the content is being created, and I'll drop a nugget on this one, if you're struggling to create content, get on a call. If you struggle with speaking, create a call that people can hop into. I tell people all the time, I didn't become a good speaker overnight. I wasn't given this gift. I may have had it, but I didn't amplify it. So I started speaking weekly. We do weekly calls. What does weekly calls give you? It gives you the ability to speak and hold a conversation, no matter what the topic or subject. You can hold the conversation and you can lead people, whether people contribute or not. It's easier when people contribute, but I can run I can run an hour call by myself and talk to the wind.
I can't. Maybe I've done it before. I don't know, but I'm not very good at running calls. So I guess I got to run a call so I can get better at doing content.
So being everywhere, if you're already curating the content, why not put it in everywhere that takes content?
Right.
Like that's a no-brainer.
Right.
If you made the decision, so I tell people this all the time. If you go to my Instagram, Daniel_._.Martinez, last March I had 6 posts. And I made a decision to myself, like, I just need to produce content. So I started creating content. Like, if you go look at, I never deleted the content. It's still there. You can go back and look at it. It wasn't my best content. There's typos. There's a lot of stuff going on. But it's just producing. Once you produce, you get better at it. You find a way to systematize it and automate it. You can get better just by doing. And a lot of people, they like, oh, I need to perfect it before I do. And like, no, you just do it.
Yeah.
Once you do it, you can, hey, feedback from this, I need to fix this, and this. I've been running on Zoom forever, and Zoom isn't the best product, but I mean, it gets the job done.
Yeah.
I think even Raphael, he said he recorded his first podcast over the phone.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people, great. If you want to be great, you would already be there because you would take the action to get there.
That's a bar. What I hear is that the only losers are the non-doers.
That's it.
Somebody posted something and they said, because I went to the Larry June concert last week on Wednesday, and Larry June's doing a nationwide tour. He was in Austin this week. He was in San Francisco, and she was like, man, it's so crazy to see Larry June progress. He's an independent rap artist who raps about quality things, in my opinion. And I see the oranges on the chat, and that's dope. And so what she was saying is that she saw him, I think in like DC or somewhere, and his set was like nothing. It was just like one tree. And now he has like a whole production, everything. And she said that basically reminds her of what I always say, which is get started, get fancy later. And so I thought that was kind of cool because these principles don't just apply to us. They apply to literally everybody who's ever done anything, anywhere. Mm-hmm. Like, the first Kanye's didn't look like the Kanye's now. The first Jay-Z album didn't look like the Jay-Z album now. Everybody has to go through this. So the only people who are losing, the people who are just not willing to sit in front of a computer and record a course. My next course is going to have I'm going to use my whole production studio. I got a studio now. I just invested in a studio and we're going to up it. But I'm going to have like my whiteboard. I'm going to have all this. It's going to be way better compared to what it was before. But you can't get there if you don't do the nonsense. If you don't do the Zoom stuff, you don't do that other stuff. So
your dreams are on the other side of fear. Yep. So whatever you fear, just face it head on and get better at doing it, because then you won't have to worry about the burden of it.
Yeah.
It just comes second nature.
Yep. So I don't want you guys to miss this, but software companies are huge, because if he can make $500,000 in trucking, it's not that he couldn't make the money. It's that everybody took a piece of it. But with software and with digital products, you make the money and ain't nobody got their hands in your pockets. And so that's what makes it a quality business. It's infinitely scalable. You don't have to go and buy another bag. I can't sell any more bags until I buy more bags, but I can sell a course every single day of the week. So digital products, software products, that's where I'm trying to go. Software makes billionaires. And that's why I like their product. Man, I feel like we've covered so much. It was a very good conversation. Am I missing anything?
What makes software, and like I said, I didn't even know to look for digital products.
But we're going to head towards the wrap-up questions. Same questions every episode. Yeah, something? Man, say what you got to say.
Okay. So I learned, and this is for him, because I came across Twitter last June. And when I saw Chris Johnson and Charles, I was like, I'm going to do business with these guys. I don't know when or how. And I put it in my head that I was going to have conversations with people that operate at a high level. And it wasn't like, I didn't know if it was going to take 6 months or 10 years. You never really know. It's just you put yourself in a position to accelerate. So they educated me on the power of digital products. And I think if I would not have learned that, I would have never started Hivemind, because Hivemind, when I saw it, I'm like, okay, digital product, it's a reoccurring income, it's scalable. Like, this is it. This is it. Without him putting out the content of scalable products and digital products, I wouldn't be doing this. And this is why, like, I don't like a lot of other businesses, because like you said earlier, there's inventory, there's shipping, there's selling, there's marketing. All I have to do with this is I just sell.
Right, just sell. That's
sell.
all.
That's all I do. And it's not even selling, because like, we provide so much value at such a low price point that you have to not like me to not get it. You have to not like me. Like, we're providing so much value. Like, we have people making money with other users. Like, we don't get a portion of that. It's a benefit of the community. We do weekly calls for the benefit of the community. You don't have to be a part of the community. You can just join in and hop in if you want to learn real estate. I'll teach you how to do anything. I invite you to participate, because if you want to change your life, you have to participate.
Nice. Yeah, that was a good little finishing segment. I'm pretty sure the people who couldn't hear are happy they got to hear that last part. But the people who are going to hear the full podcast episode, they're going to hear it. I'm about to chop these episodes up, figure out how I can get them on to a Google Drive or something. But anyway, great conversation. First question. I don't think I should ask you this question, because he doesn't read books.
I don't.
But what's your favorite business or real estate investing book?
Traction.
All right.
I don't read books, but I read that one.
All right.
So Traction covers finding your place in a business and finding your missing gaps. So there's a visionary and an integrator, and sometimes you're both, but usually you're not. So you have to find somebody that can either facilitate the action you need to take because you have the inability to, and you're the visionary, or you're the action taker and you need somebody to provide the vision for you in which direction you want to go.
What does wealth mean to you?
I think it's freedom and providing an impact to the community. I think the biggest thing is freedom, because it gives you the ability to do whatever you want. And I'm trying to position myself right now to get out of the business to actually work. Instead of working in the business, I can work on the business. Yeah. So I can provide more resources and assistance on the leadership side, because that's my skill and superpower, and I need to get the freedom of actually working on the business.
What sets apart successful business owners from those who give up, fail, or never get started?
Consistency. Consistency separates everybody. I think I mentioned this on one of your calls, is that the difference between people that want and aspire to do everything is they start. They make a decision to change and better their life. So first of all, you have to start. Second, you have to be consistent. Even if you fail, a failure is just a lesson that makes you smarter. All the lessons I've learned and failures I've made in my life has made me into the person I am today. And now it gives me the power of influence to provide it to my people to not do the same mistakes.
Man, everybody want to have $1 million business. Don't nobody want to have failures, though.
Yeah. The failures are a part of it, and you embrace them with open arms, because that shows you something is wrong and you need to change, pivot, do better, and accelerate to the next level. So consistency will separate you from the pack, because most people aren't consistent.
Gems on gems on gems. Where can people find you, follow you, or support what you have going on?
So my Instagram is Daniel_._.Martinez. I wanted it to be my name because I want people to know who I am. And it's not even about me, but if my name is all I got. That's all I'm taking to the grave with me is my name. So I wanted it to be my name. But my business is a Hive Mind CRM on all platforms. We have the Hive With Us podcast. We're on Apple, Android, whatever, Google Podcasts, Spotify, you name it. We're on Twitch, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn. Anywhere you consume content, we're there. Just look up Hive Mind CRM.
Yeah. Awesome. Great conversation. I got a lot. Every single land question you could ask, I was trying to ask. So hopefully you guys got value from my ignorance, because I'm trying to get these land deals. I'm trying to get these development deals. That's where I see my business and my brand going forward, is that big stuff. I don't want to do what everybody else is doing or can do. I just have no interest in doing that.
So the put it in perspective is 90% of the people chase land and houses. The real money is made in commercial. If you visit a big city, somebody actually owns a skyscraper you drive by. Somebody owns that. There's an individual that makes money off of that property. So what level do you want to play at?
And with that, that's a perfect time to end this episode. We'll have all the information for their products and their company in the show notes. And
one last thing.
Yeah.
210-972-1842. You can actually text the word Hive, Hive, 210-872-1942. That's our weekly calls to get connected with us and our community. And then we'll invite you. There's automation built around that, which is Hive Mind, to connect you to our Facebook group and YouTube page and all that stuff.
Nice. They got it all planned out, man. But he definitely did kill my thunder with his bar drop. But you guys didn't need that information anyway. So with that, this is kind of cool, man. This gets better and better. I didn't have this light last time. I had the two little lights, and I figured out lighting matters. Lighting matters. I'm thinking about getting some better chairs. So I'm get some better chairs. I got some microphone stands over there that are in-person microphone stands, meaning they don't have arms. But this is kind of cool too. And then also, I wanted to get something else for the podcast. Oh, probably better mics. I might even upgrade the microphones. This is fun, y'all. This is fun. I enjoyed it, and the conversation was way better than it would have been if it was on Zoom. And the audio clarity is going to come through better for you guys. So with that, I just enjoy what we're building. Shout out to Rashana Scott. We're just out here, y'all. My name is Charles Oglesby. Make sure you give us a rating or review, 5-star rating. We like those. Make sure you subscribe, like the YouTube channel, because we need this YouTube money. All right, I need that YouTube money. My son, I got to create more streams of income for my son and maybe his kids. Maybe that's where we at now. Like, he good. We got to create some income for his kids and his kids' kids, because a good man leaves an inheritance for his kids' kids. If you ain't leaving an inheritance for your kids' kids, you are not a good man by default. I didn't say it. The Bible said it, and we out.